Hey everyone, welcome to Heart Center Tarot. As always, my name is Marina and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. And we have a lovely little treat for you today. This is being recorded, so I'm not exactly sure when you're going to see it, but you're going to enjoy it when you do. I have John from Massalia Tarot here. He is not only a really good tarot reader, he is really very, very knowledgeable about astrology, numerology, that sort of thing. So he's a little shy at the moment, so we're just going to hear his voice. and and if things change in the future, then you'll be able to see him. But for now, this is what we're going to do. You're just going to hear his voice. So sit back and relax. We're not going to be doing any readings. It's just going to be sort of a little bit of an introduction to astrology. Excuse me. Now, if you want to kind of get the business end of things out of the way, if you want to get in touch with me for a private reading, personal reading, just look in the description below and you'll have my contact information in there. You can send an email. I'll be more than glad to send you the information and we could take it from there. I'm also going to have John's email down there as well. So if you're interested in getting a tarot reading from him, he's got a fairly, excuse me, fairly new tarot channel, but you should go check him out. And if you'd like a personal reading with him regarding tarot, astrology, or anything else, his email will be in the description as well, so you can get in touch with him. So, having said that, is there anything else that I need to tell you? Oh, don't forget, October 10th, I will have the wonderful, the amazing Linda G is going to be on the channel here with me, and we're going to do some readings. And boy, oh boy, I think we're going to have a lot to read on. So that is October 10th at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe, like, share. It really, really helps with the analytics. So that having been said, we'll say hello to John.
Hello.
And hello, John. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so you did a pretty good explanation before. So I've been doing tarot since I was, well, tarot, astrology, and numerology since I was maybe in my late teens. I'm now in my early 30s. And yeah, so I've been practicing. I've been doing it on the side, unofficially, and I'm really starting to get my business online, and I'm truly starting. So this might be my first real opportunity to open myself to the world, and I'm really excited to share it with all of yours.
Perfect.
And yeah, that's it.
Excellent. Excellent. The next time that we do this, we'll have to go live. That way people can come in and they can ask you questions. Because
Oh,
that's the best part is, yeah, when they
yeah.
ask questions. So, but you are going to give us a little introduction into astrology. And I mean, who doesn't like astrology, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows a little bit about it. So, excuse me. Go ahead. I'm just going to sit back and relax while you do your thing. So there you
Yeah.
go.
And feel free to pitch in if you have something to say while I read my text and comment on all of the beauty that
Absolutely.
astrology is.
Absolutely.
So this will
Right.
be divided into five, six, five chapters. The first is what is astrology. The second one will be all about the zodiac. Third one
Hmm.
will be polarities. The fourth will be the elements. And the last one will be all about the modalities. So I will explain it whenever in due time. So let's start about what is astrology. So,
Perfect.
astrology is the belief that celestial objects, such as stars, planets, asteroids, etc., influence the destiny of humans, animal, and terrestrial events. The origin of astrology is debated, but it can be traced at least all the way back to the second millennium BC. So it's quite ancient.
Long time. Yeah.
It was originally tied with calendar systems to predict seasonal shifts and used to interpret celestial cycles as signs of divine messages, such as bountiful harvests, weather,
Hmm.
success in wars, etc. So you can see over there, I got a stone tablet dating all the way back to the Babylonian times. So it would
Oh,
be
wow.
about the first millennium BC. So this would be detailing all about the events that could be predicted by observing the sky at the time. So whether the harvest would be good or bad, the rain, etc.
Wow.
So the Babylonian astrology is confirmed to be the earliest form of astrology recorded. Babylon was around the present day Iraq, for those who
Hmm.
don't know. And it used to be a divination method for forecasting seasonal tasks, such as fishing, harvesting, gathering shellfish, collecting and maintaining water reserves, hunting, ensuring the survival of children and young animals, etc. So basic daily tasks as well as like essential surviving, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Um, they were also the first civilization to associate local gods with planets or stars and correlate evil celestial omens with divine punishment.
Ooh,
So
okay.
if they had like severe droughts for an extended period of time, that may be the wrath of um, a divine like omen of some kind,
Yeah.
and they were
Deity
so
or god,
yes,
goddess,
deity,
that kind of
etc.
thing. Yeah. Okay.
They also developed the first works on natal astrology too, especially on the nobility and the kings.
Of course.
Then a couple of centuries, actually 1 millennium after, came yeah, that's also a depiction of a Babylonian uh, nobility
Right.
and forecasting, one of which is the astrologer, and one of the other one sitting, I think, is the king. And the astrologer here is predicting his official forecast. It's stating his official forecast to the king according to the planets.
Wow.
Oh, this is a little too early for me. Here, let's go with this one. Okay, so then came afterwards the Egyptian astrology, who likely came in contact with the esoteric practice with the Persian conquest. It was
Yep.
around 525 BC, and they invented concepts such as decans, which is a way of dividing the zodiac signs into three equal parts.
Okay.
And after several centuries, they were occupied by Alexander the Great, who brought many Greek scholars into the region, enriching the astrology tradition further by associating decans with hours of the day and degrees in a circle, etc. So this
Hmm.
is where the Greco-Roman astrologer Ptolemy wrote his Tetrabiblos here,
A
who
book
laid
that we
really
have
the
all read, right?
yeah, definitely everyone has read.
I have one in my shelf.
Yeah, it's compulsory in in grade school.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
This
Go ahead.
work,
Sorry.
oh, that's okay. This has led the basis of Western astrology, So this is like the granddaddy of
Yeah.
Western astrology that we all know today. And he introduced the four temperaments, planetary ages, benefic, malefic planets, etc. This is really the first steps into modern astrology. So
Yeah.
this is one of the many concepts introduced in his work, the Tetra Biblis. So here we can see the four elements, the four classical Greco-Roman elements. So we have fire, air, water, and earth, and each are associated with two qualities: fire being hot and dry, air hot and wet, water is wet and cold, and earth is
Yeah.
dry and cold. So this was the very first steps straddling into the modern age of astrology. This is really the birth of core
Hmm.
concepts pertaining to astrology that we still use today.
Right.
So that's the major uh, benchmark for astrology. Okay, so afterwards, as the Greeks and later Roman influence expanded during late antiquity, it brought it it brought along with it astrology to many different cultures in Europe. So the Middle East, Africa, also. So this is also the
Yeah.
first time detractors came to criticize astrology, also, and it was the first of many to come, also.
Of course, it never ends. It never ends.
Yeah.
There's always somebody to criticize a good idea. Oh my. Go
After
ahead. Go
the
ahead. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. After the fall of the West Roman Empire, um, after the fall of the West Roman Empire, astrology gained popularity among Islamic scholars. As you see here, this is a book of fixed stars. Were the first, the Islamic scholars were the first to introduce the concept of fixed stars and Arabic parts, to only name a few. And this is here, as you can see, this is a list of
Yeah.
all the fixed stars known. And this is dating about the 13th century of this era. So about like it was about 1200s.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so you can see all of the numerical order of the Arabic parts that are listed here.
Yeah.
And some even merge the astrology with science and other practices such as alchemy also.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay.
Afterwards, medieval Europe kept astrology in a kind of I would say a little bit at bay, at a distance,
Yeah.
as the increasing influence of Christianity came into service, but
Of
still
course.
kept astrological influences throughout their daily lives. As we
Yeah.
can see here, this is one of the um, depiction that is dating from, I think, the 1400s, and
Mhm.
this was commissioned by a French noble, and this is depicting activities from a specific month of the year. This is February. If we can zoom in,
Right.
we can see the no, yeah, no, this is January at the end, and with February rising up with
Yeah.
Aquarius. Though this is the transition between January and February, and this is the actual how would say this the actual um, customs depicted at this time of the month. So I think it
Oh,
was
okay.
Lent or something. So
Yeah,
this
it
is
could
one of the
be.
many depiction of astrology that medieval times in Europe was still in practice, even though the Christianity was a little bit um, distrustful of it in a way.
Yeah, of course, but they were probably using it as a way to mark the seasons, mark
Yep,
the events and
of
whatnot,
course.
things that would happen in a particular month or a particular season, and
Yeah,
that it would make
especially.
sense because yeah, that wouldn't disagree with Christianity, right?
Yeah, definitely. And since astrology and astronomy were tied like since the
Yeah.
antiquity, this was the way to accurately forecast and predict periods of the tale of the
Hmm.
seasons and spring, drought, weather, etc.
Yep.
So this was the main aspects of it.
Yeah.
So
Kind of like that.
afterwards,
Kind of
sorry.
like the modern day. Uh, what we have is like the Farmer's Almanac, where
Yeah,
you can,
yeah.
yeah, you can look in there and you could say, oh, okay, well, this year, yeah, we're planting seeds at this time and harvesting at this time. So yeah,
Yep.
it makes sense. Absolutely.
Yep. So by the 13th century, astrology had greatly influenced medicine, such as
Yeah.
calculating the position of the moon before performing surgeries or bleeding. So we can
Wow.
see here, this was a iconic depiction of the zodiac man dating all the way back from the middle period of the Middle Ages.
Right.
And
Right.
this dates pretty much all the way. Well, this is about the same age as the previous picture. And as you can see, the zodiac were associated with certain parts of the body,
Yep.
commencing with Aries at the top, all the way down to Pisces.
Wow.
So this was really crucial for people who practice medicine to know about the events and know about the body parts associated with those signs.
Right. Right.
Also, education was split into 7 liberal arts, akin to the 7 known planets at the time.
Okay.
Here we go. And grammar was assigned to the moon. Yeah, this one. Was the quickest moving celestial body. Dialectic was assigned to Mercury. I think this is this one here.
Mm.
Rhetoric to Venus.
Hmm.
Music to the sun. Art, music here.
Yeah.
Um, arithmetic to Mars. Geometry to Jupiter, and astrology/astronomy to the slowest moving body, Saturn.
Yep. That makes
So
sense.
astrology permeated almost every sphere of the medieval period.
Hmm.
So it's really fascinating to see.
Absolutely.
So of course, this introduction to astrology is only stating the influence and evolution of the Western branch of astrology as we use today.
Yeah.
So there is also many other branches of astrology that were developing on their own. So like this is the Hindu astrology called, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name, Jyotisha. So this is the Vedic astrology that they use in India. So they have their really particular system here in India.
Hmm.
There's also Chinese astrology. There's also
Yeah,
Mayan and Aztec calendar, and so on. So astrology has permeated so much of the world culture and influenced many, many, many parts of the globe, basically.
absolutely. And isn't it interesting that the how all the cultures that you wouldn't think were able to communicate with each other seem to have come up with the same sort of idea? You
Yeah,
know,
definitely.
like the Mayans and like the Asians um, and so on.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
it is pretty spectacular to say the least.
Absolutely.
So this and the first part of what is astrology. The second part is all about the zodiac in particular. So, what is the zodiac? The zodiac is an imaginary belt shaped region in the sky that extend to about 8 degrees north and south of the ecliptic. The ecliptic being the apparent path of the sun in the sky. So you can see that from someone coming
Yeah.
from the Earth's perspective, the sun is moving all around
Yeah.
this part of the sky and always staying in that region. So that's why they correlated these constellation. So this is where
Right.
also most of the astronomical and astrological phenomena occur, such as
Okay.
eclipses, planetary movements, etc. The
Nice.
zodiac was first divided into 12 signs during the Babylonian civilization in the first millennium BC. So by joining star clusters into constellation like those,
Mm-hmm.
they establish like the 12 zodiac signs as we know today in different forms,
Yeah.
in different names, like the ram, the bull, the twins, the crab or
Mhm.
crayfish, the lion, the maiden, the scales, the scorpion, the centaur, the goat, the water bearer, and the two fishes.
Yep.
Ptolemy, this scholar, this Greek scholar again, is credited to lay the basis of many Western astrology concepts, such as the houses and introduction to the tropical coordinate system, by which the zodiac is aligned to the equinoxes and solstice rather than the actual constellations that be the, that has the same name as the zodiac signs. This is the a little bit trickier part of my expose because this is not easy to explain even with even with slides, I would
Charts.
say. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because actually, and I will try my best here, there is this phenomenon that was first observed by Hipparchus around 130 BC.
Wow.
He observed that a particular star called Spica had moved 2 degrees from the the fall equinox compared to the data from his predecessor by this date. So he compared the length of a tropical year. This is what we use in Western astrology,
Yeah.
and the sidereal year. This is what they use in India with their Vedic system, and found a really slight discrepancy. Hipparchus concluded that the equinoxes were moving or precessing through the zodiac, and at the rate of precession was no less than 1 degree in a century.
Oh,
In other
wow.
words, in other words, it would complete a full cycle in no more than 26,000 years.
Wow.
This is
Wow.
so I've tried to look at the best images that could really simplify this phenomenon at best of my
Yeah.
comprehension. So Yeah, this is so let this look at the return of the sun at March 20 of today. So
Okay.
the sun would be around this position, let's say this placement here, around here. But this time of years from now, the sun would not be at the same position it had been today. It would have
Right.
been at almost a 90-degree angle from where we are now. And this cycle takes about, well, this one says about 20,000, 23,000 years. So it's
Yeah.
debatable, but it takes a really long time. But we humans don't experience this kind of discrepancy because we have leap years.
Of course.
So
Okay.
this closes the gap between each time. But you can really see, like, uh, if you have a computer and you have an astrology software, you can look at each time of the year, and the sun doesn't come up exactly at the same
Yeah.
time at the same position.
Yeah.
So it's always a tiny bit late regarding the
Yeah.
same exact same time.
And would
So
that be something that you can, would the, oh, what's the word I'm trying to say? Um, would the position of the poles have anything to do with
yes,
that? And
yes.
okay, yeah,
Uh,
that
do I? Yeah. So
okay.
because of the poles, this is where I'm at my limit, my personal limit,
Yeah,
because I'm not a science guy at all.
yeah,
But this really deals in the axis, the rotational axis
yeah,
of the Earth, rather like this way, and the tilt of the Earth makes
yeah,
that the Earth is slightly out of bound and not always at the same time each time it
yeah,
revolves on itself.
yeah.
So that's the
And
really simple bare
23,000
bone.
years. Yeah,
Yeah,
you would. I'm not going to notice it.
no, but
Yeah, but
I wanted to explain that because that's a really strong there's this really strong divide between Western tropical astrology and
yeah,
Indian Vedic astrology that
yeah,
use the sidereal um,
yeah.
the sidereal method of calculation. That's
So
really
that
different
that's what
from
would explain how in one horoscope I am a Libra, in the other horoscope I am a Virgo.
exactly
Okay.
that's it.
All right.
Yep. So nowadays, we are not affected too much by this persistent effect because of the added day in leap years, which cancels it to
Yeah.
an extent. And since Greek antiquity, the order of the zodiac signs is established as Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Those beauties here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
So this closes my segment on the zodiac, and we will now proceed to the polarities, the first divide that we
Yes.
can establish within the zodiac. Because there are many ways to divide the zodiac into something other than 12 signs. The simplest one is to separate it into two groups called polarities. Here it
Okay.
is. So there are six signs who are associated with either there are many terms, either masculine, positive, diurnal as they use here, or yang
Mhm.
energy, and six
Okay.
others who are paired with the feminine, negative, nocturnal, or yin energy. Personally, I don't use the masculine, positive, negative, feminine, or nocturnal
Mhm.
like those kind of terms because I
Right.
prefer the more neutral yin and yang coming from the
Yeah.
Tao.
Yeah.
So it really shows that no polarity is better or worse than the other.
Yeah. They just are.
Yep, they complete each other.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the first one, yang, is the polarity associated with expansion, extroversion,
Yeah.
and expressiveness. Yang signs are blessed with breadth of curiosity and their need to impact their environment. They are the movers and shakers who want to accomplish and connect with the outside world. This is the key here.
Yeah.
Connect with the outside.
Right.
So the yang signs, as I said, as I showed previously here, these are all the yellow ones. So Aries, Aquarius, Sagittarius, Libra, Leo, and Gemini. So those are all the yang energy signs.
Yeah.
So people with high number of planets in the yang signs, well, they will have naturally a difficult time to slow down and being tied down since they are explorers. They want
Yeah.
to look around, they want to see the outside world. So they can also miss the impact they have on others and hurt people by being so expedient and assertive. So they're
Yeah.
really, really energetic in their demeanor. And around midlife, so maybe 30 to 40 years old, people with dominant yang energy can start being interested in more profound topics such as psychology, self development, esotericism, etc. So they can invert their
Absolutely.
tendency and be more,
Mm.
instead of going through spreading their knowledge, they will may want to delve deeper into a few a
Yeah.
few of it.
Yeah.
But usually they are usually very good at making things happen in the world.
Yep.
So the opposite is the yin. Yin is the polarity associated with contemplation, the inner world, and introversion. Yin signs
Hmm.
care for their inner life first and learn quickly how to manage their energy levels as they are more conscious of their limitations than the yang signs. This is really about conserve, conserving their fuel on a day
Yeah.
to day basis. They're really more aware of this tendency to be burnt out after
Hmm.
really, uh, really, really hectic day.
Yeah.
They are often late bloomers, as they are generally prudent around novelty, preferring keeping to themselves away from overstimulation. People with high yin energy can be so introspective and focused on their feelings that they can appear unfriendly and reclusive, in the end, missing opportunities to grow and learn about the world. This is the complete opposite problem that they have from young people.
Yeah. They're thinkers, right? The
There
yin, I think, is more doer, and the yang is more thinker.
I would say that the yin are more deep thinkers and feelers and have a longer processing time. So they really want to make sure that they have what it takes to
Hmm.
first go and take the first step into reality,
Right.
whether
Okay.
a project or something. And the yang sign are more like on a whim. They're really
Yeah.
going through life a little bit more carelessly, I would say. And like, I can do anything. Life is my playground.
Kind of like the fool in tarot, right?
In
I
a way, yeah.
believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that this is their they see life as a limitless canvas where they can
Yeah.
paint whatever they can do, whatever they have in mind. So they're really, really quick thinkers, really quick.
Yeah.
So, like the Yang people, folk with dominant yin energy can shift their attention to the outer world, coming 30 to 40 years old, as they begin to embrace more assertive qualities. So, they have the reversed pattern
Mm-hmm.
than the Yang people. They need to open up to the outside to understand that they cannot like stay into their shell for eternity.
Yeah.
So
Excuse me. The
they off
dog graze.
yeah.
What is it? What is it, my darling? What do you need? Do you need to go outside? Come on. Excuse me. You carry
No
on.
worries.
Come on
And
while
to
you're here.
finish on for the yin energy, people with lots of yin energy in their chart often know how to check themselves inside. Am I okay? Am I safe here? Am I in tune with my environment? They are really able to know how they're feeling at the moment. This is the quality of
Mm-hmm.
the yin people. Whereas yang people doesn't even think about that. They're like, no, I need to go into action right now. So
Yeah.
most people in the world are a mix of both polarities, with very few
Yeah.
people at the extremes. It's like a bell curve.
Yeah.
And this
Totally.
concludes my segment on polarities. So I will
Very good.
transition into the elements. This is my favorite part.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yep.
This is some really good information because most people know um, astrology. They know their sign,
Yeah.
right? They know, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, and so on. I like the idea that having a little more information just gives insight not only into yourself but into those around you, right?
Absolutely.
That you, yeah, that you can know. Oh, okay, well, this person is, maybe more shy and introspective. They're not being rude to me. They're just a little
Yeah.
more introspective. So
They're just
I,
themselves.
they're just themselves. Yeah, exactly. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just different.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, it's okay. So, if the polarities are aligned with how somebody harness their energy, like an extrovert or introvert way, the
Mm-hmm.
element can be described as four realms of consciousness. An individual has access to understand the world and sustain their needs. This is my own
Mm-hmm.
definition. So everyone is attuned to different everyone is tuned differently to each of the four classical Greek elements of fire, earth, air, and water. And they will
Yep.
embody their characteristic depending on where the planets and points fall into their personal chart. So fire and air signs, those two ones edge at the edges, they
Mm-hmm.
correspond to the yang polarity, as I stated
Yep.
before. Though, so they are really more assertive than the opposite water and earth, who are paired with the yin polarity.
Okay.
So the first element is fire. I personally call it the realm of instinct, since it deals with all matters of trusting your impulses or gut instinct and manifesting your identity to the outside world. The fire signs, as you can see now, are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius.
Yep.
People with strong fire element in their chart will have this lust for life attitude in which they will need lots of space to create and enjoy what it makes them feel alive. They often look quite charismatic and energetic in their demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
Some even can display this contagious joy of living, and
Yep.
they have a very generous disposition. This is really this element really encompasses people who can really deliver in such a powerful and undeterred way
Yeah.
to the world. They can't be bothered. Like they do as they want in a way.
Mm-hmm.
This is also called, one of my astrology teacher called them the divine children of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not balanced, this element can bring hubris and tyrannical in energy coming from an overly passionate and emotional individual. As fire
Yeah.
is not in tune with moderation, they consume, they're bright, they're intense. So they can
Yeah.
be seen as too much to others, either because they are too expedient or angry when things don't go their way. So they can
Mm-hmm.
sulk, they can do a tantrum when
Yeah.
this is why they're called divine children. They're like,
Yeah.
no, this isn't what I wanted. I want it my way, and that's it. And so they can
Yeah.
be very expressive.
Yeah.
You wanted to add something?
No, 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 no. Go,
Okay.
go ahead. Go ahead. I was just thinking in my head. I wonder which one Trump is.
Well, Trump, if I remember correctly, well, his old chart is all about being a yang sign, a yang dominant sign. This is one of the
Mm,
extreme. Yeah,
yeah.
you will see that a lot with like another good example is Tyra Banks.
Mm-hmm.
This is also really strong, really strong fire person. Lots of fire in her chart.
Yeah.
Almost like almost anything. It's only fire, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's really like intense.
Intense. Yeah.
But as as any other examples that I could give you,
Oh, you go ahead. She wants to come in. So I'll be right back.
it's okay.
Carry on.
So yeah,
Uh,
people with there's no dominant element that usually exceed a certain threshold in people's chart. Usually, people, like I said before, for the yin and yang signs, this is a bell curve, and people who
mhm.
have a single dominant element is relatively rare. Usually people have two dominant element and one
Right.
or two lacking element.
Right.
So like as a closing sentence for fire, I would say that if not restrained by maybe a more yin element like earth or water, fire people can be extremely passionate to the point of being overbearing to others.
Hmm. Okay.
So the second element is earth. So I call this one the realm of physicality, as this element is the most attuned to practicality and tangible actions.
Yep.
So fire was all about impulses and living your life as it is to the extreme. And earth is more about the tangible, the material world.
Yeah.
So the earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So somebody with dominant earth element in their birth charts are usually seen as deliberate, patient, and concerned about material matters such as money, work, and health. They can be
Hmm.
really grounded compared to the other elements. Um, they can be great at giving out practical advice as well as handling money sometimes. So people with strong dominant earth can be really good at anything pertaining to stability and
Right.
practical progress. Um, on the other hand, their downside is that they can be too slow to adapt and distrustful or of novel or impractical ideas, as they need tangible proofs to feel secure in their beliefs. This is really this like um, they really want proof, tangible proofs, in order to feel convinced. So
Right.
either like a conversation that is too theoretical or like too abstract for them doesn't feel right, doesn't
Yeah.
feel tangible. Unhealthy behaviors coming from this element can be transpired as their unbridled greed for security and money. And they can hold on
Okay.
to their material possession if sufficiently fearful and anxious. Yeah, this is a really dark side of Earth signs
Hmm.
because they can be so worked up if they feel their material security is jeopardized. They can hold on to whatever they have and just no, I cannot like I cannot move
Yeah.
on without having tangible proof that I'm safe again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they are extremely hardworking,
Yes.
extremely industrious. Mm.
Yeah.
Uh oh, I did add some other things. No, it's okay. I'm really done with Earth. The next one. This is yours.
Yay! That's me.
So the third element is air. This is what I call the realm of the intellect, since this element is attuned to communication, thinking, and learning about its surroundings. So the
Yeah.
air signs are Gemini. I don't know why it's not in order here, but still Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So
Hmm.
people with lots of air in their chart, they possess a very curious mind and need constant intellectual stimulation to quench their thirst for knowledge. And knowledge can be pretty much anything. This can be really shallow to really deep to really dry to really
Yeah.
entertaining to it could be anything. And
Yeah.
they're really good at mental games. They love uh they love chatting, talking, discussing about things, anything to just spark their imagination. This is a really imaginative sign,
Yeah.
imagining element. They also don't tend to be particularly attached to emotions like the other three elements, and therefore can hold somewhat of more objective or detached judgments. This is especially true for Gemini or Aquarius. Libra is like a little
Yeah.
less because Libra is ruled by Venus. This is the
Yeah.
planet of emotional bonding. So there's a tiny less. There's a step down for Libra, but still, there's
Yeah.
kind of this level headedness, objectivity that is
Yeah.
not necessarily observed from the other three elements.
Yeah. I think sometimes with air signs is um, when air signs come to, I think, to the place where they detach and they've made the decision to detach, they detach. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like a defense mechanism for
Yeah.
air. It's like no, I don't want this to affect me, so I will try
Yep.
to distance myself.
Yep.
Yep, definitely you can see that a lot with air, especially
Yeah.
with emotional planets. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're talking my language.
Yeah. Yeah. On the
Totally.
on the flip side, people with lots of air in their chart can be seen as a little bit fickle or superficial in their opinions, since they don't
Yeah.
attach conviction or value the same way as the other
Yeah.
elements do. Um, they can be deemed as unemotional or aloof when they communicate, since they
Yep.
primarily focus on sharing thoughts rather than personal experiences or feelings.
Hmm.
So yeah, so people with um, dominant air in their chart can be a little too overly attached to like ideas, because ideas for air people is tangible, believe it or not.
Yes.
They're really attached to um, concepts
Yep.
of all kinds. This
Yep.
is really interesting for other elements. If
Yep.
I compare with Earth, Earth is the most practical of all. So, like tangible things, possessions are real, are what's
Yep.
most important in life. And for fire, it's all about what what does my gut instinct tells me to do. What does my my intuition is oriented, and let's go. It's all
Yep.
about expressing themselves. So that's
Yep.
what feels real to them. So the last element is water. This is what I call the realm of emotions, as all water signs
Yep.
perceive the world in the way it affects them emotionally. So the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Water dominant people are often seen as sensitive, intuitive, and introspective, and can be good at picking up unspoken cues in their environment. Really subtle changes, emotional facial expressions, etc. So they're really like
Mhm.
all about the unspoken words, the unseen, everything pertaining to also like almost the mysterious in life.
Yeah.
So some might be even attuned to mediumship or spiritual dimensions, as this
Yep.
is the most spiritually connected of all the elements. This is the one that is the most um, spiritual and connected to
Yeah.
psychic abilities, especially with Scorpio and Pisces. Definitely. These are the
Yeah.
two
They
most
want to take
spiritual.
care of you. That's my, yeah, my feeling is, and what little I know is, yeah, they just want to take care of you. They want to make sure that you're comfortable, um, and yeah, just take care.
Well, you're right about that, because water for them, what is most important in life is their feelings. And given that most of humans think that we people think the way that everyone thinks the way that we do, in a way like an egotistic way,
Yeah.
uh, while water sign will be attuned to how's this person feeling, how's this person is interacting with me, what is the unspoken words here, what is the
Yeah.
situation, the feeling, the ambience. This
Yeah.
is what water is all about. um, so this is the most empathetic element,
Hmm.
and they often grant this is often um, especially indicative of people with lots of water in their chart. They will be extremely compassionate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would say, given that we are living in societies that are really about somewhat cold hearted, or really this hustle culture, and
Yeah.
the, the reality can be a little bit really harsh at times.
Yeah.
Water, if you think about it, water signs have developed an outer shell, an outer skeleton. Cancer is a crab.
Yeah.
Scorpio is a scorpion. Only Pisces can be really deemed as shellless, and is the most um, attuned to the collective emotions, I would
Yeah.
say. So, as a generalizing way, I would say that the water signs are really in tune with their emotions, so they know how to protect them
Yeah.
and only show them in specific times when they feel safe,
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
because
sense.
they're extremely, extremely sensitive.
Yeah.
So they have to develop a shell of some kind.
Yeah.
Some individual might perceive water as overly sensitive, and they can be easily moody in some situation and not very objective, especially coming from air signs. Air signs will see water as sometimes a little bit too caught up with their emotions when dealing with something um, precarious or difficult.
Yeah.
It's really easy for water signs to be completely submerged with their emotions, as
Yeah.
air would rather distance themselves and be aloof. Water is all about soaking up the energy, and it's really difficult for water to detach in that time.
I can totally, as an air sign, I can totally vouch for that. Yeah. Yeah. It's sometimes hard um, to understand the depth of emotion where
Yeah,
where it can go, and it's almost that sense of come on now, pull
yeah,
yourself up by your bootstraps. Let's get on. It's okay. It's enough. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, absolutely, and that's yeah. We are all different, but I can totally. I understand some of the most difficult um, things that I have encountered um, when it came to emotion would be with cancer.
yeah,
That it's like, oh, stop. but but yet at the same time, when you want to, if your heart is broken and you need to talk to someone, you, go find a water sign. They will understand.
you're
They will
right.
stand with you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Especially
totally.
at a high vibration, water
Yes.
signs are they're so empathetic. This
Yeah.
is really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
if not balanced by another element, water signs can bring an over focus on negative emotions like grudges, depression, and envy.
Yeah.
And finally, this element can lose touch with reality by delving into their inner world or the spirit world for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can really delve too deep into their emotional turmoil and be completely swallowed by it.
Yeah.
Just as
Yeah.
air can be
Yeah.
overly caught up with their mental labyrinth and
Yeah.
ideas. Yep, you can see that also.
Absolutely.
Every element has its gifts and pitfalls.
Of course.
So that's
Of
really
course.
interesting.
Totally.
Mm,
Totally. Now, right now, we are at 59 minutes.
yep.
So, you, um, did you want to save the rest for part two?
Of course.
What do you think? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. That way it's, we've kind of, there's a good bit of information and a lot for people to kind of digest
Yes.
and look at and whatnot. And besides, we need them to come back.
Of
We want them to come
course.
back. So it's like, okay. And on that note, tune in next week when. So yeah, I think that would be a really yeah, this spot would probably be a really good place to kind of end. And what do you think? Are you kind of at the end of that section?
Definitely, I was thinking about switching to modalities after this segment.
Per-
So
Perfect. Okay, then we can leave that for another time, either later on this week or next week sometime. Maybe we can think about making this a regular feature. Like
sure,
one, once weekly or once every 2 weeks, and focus on one sign, one element, or whatnot. We can talk about that.
sure.
Okay, alrighty. Well, you know what? I am. Just stay with me. Don't go anywhere while I say thank you to everyone who is listening, who has been with us so far, and I hope you enjoy it. And watch, I'll be putting something up to indicate when we're going to do part two, and make sure you join us for part two because there could be something extremely exciting happening there. So, all right, thank you, John, and we will be back. We'll be back at a later time. So y'all take
Yep.
care. Okie dokie. We'll see you later.